Hey there, and welcome to the A.D.K Rock and Metal channel. I, of course, am Dave. There is no Andy or Kirk with me today as they are off doing something else. I have no idea where else. So I'm sure it's an interview or something else for the channel, but they're not here with me. But joining me today, I have Brad from the wonderful Torcon 11. Welcome to the channel.
Hey, brother. Thank you for having me, man. Super excited to be here.
It's great to have you on. It's great to have, as we just said before we started rolling, we just checked out the Respect the Polygon music video, which was obviously done through the Uncut Lawn Chair Youth, which is great. Do you know what? Lawn Chair Youth, love those guys. We've come across so many bands. We interviewed the owner. We were chatting to him probably about a month and a half ago, and all because we did this whole thing where we were about to do a whole series of videos where we would talk about why are bands just filming in these white rooms. And of course, I pulled one video up that was a white room, and it was a Lawn Chair Youth video. And then suddenly in my suggested box, I'm like, wow, look at all these white room videos. And we went down this rabbit hole of uncut bands, which was just, it was amazing to kind of go and see what they were doing over there. But you, of course, have been one of the recommendations that we came across. And as soon as I had heard it, before we had even played it for Andy and Kirk, I was like, we got to get these guys on. We got to talk to them and find out what this project's about. So welcome to the channel.
Thank you, man. Yeah, just again, super glad to be here. Lawn Chair Youth is incredible, what they're doing. There's definitely a scene in Birmingham. And for me personally, this all kind of spawned from the Furnace Fest festival that happens every year. And just so many old school, like hardcore bands and metal and even like emo kids. I mean, I'm an elder emo, you know, so.
Yeah.
And then I same as you, man, I kind of found Lawn Chair Youth. I'd heard of them and like my algorithms, like all these black and white videos. I'm like, what is this? And then I'm like, well, that's pretty sick. Like, I want to do that with us, you know? Yeah. So we just shot that music video maybe even less than a month ago. And they're so streamlined and professional the way they do it. Like same day, everything's edited and back to us, and just really kind of kick ass, you know.
It's awesome the way they do it. It's yeah, he was. I did ask him about the whole process because having been a videographer myself, being a videographer myself, I look at the process, and because I watch bands and I'm like, well, you can tell the drummer's not hitting that very hard, so it must be that I said to the owner, I was like, so you must have like a PA system. They can't be in ears because the drummer is nowhere near hitting what he can hit a drum kit. And you can watch your video and you can watch the drummer kind of, and he does a fill that isn't a fill on the song. He plays a fill that isn't actually there, which I'm going, well, that probably is a fill that he plays live. But it's maybe not what he did on the recording. So I'm like, but you can watch that on these videos. But it's the case they shoot it in one take. They're like, right, you've had your run through. Ready? Go. That's your take, guys. That's it. You're done. It's like, well, yeah, there you go.
And our drummer, Ben, so back in the day, we were in another metal project, and we were a little more thrashy. And so Ben is a speed drummer. His feet are just, he's from outer space, you know, he's really talented. And I could tell that he was very focused on the video shoot, trying to, you know, just stay in time. And because normally he is kind of an animal, you know, so
he props was very to Ben. Restrictive. Yeah, I noticed that.
Props to Ben for really dialing that in and trying to stay and look as pocket as possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. I've done a few music videos, but this one was different in the sense that it is uncut. So you don't have any B-roll, you don't have any, you know, props or anything at all. Like you just gotta basically perform. You're just performing the show. So it was a lot of fun. It's kind of punk rock too. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed it.
Andy on the channel, he loves the uncut series. As a videographer, for me, I'm always a little bit like, I'd like to do that. He's like, I just love the rawness of it. And I'm like, okay, it's for everyone.
It is what it is, and certainly moving forward, we're definitely going to work with Lawn Chair Youth again. But we've got some other concepts and songs that we want to probably do like a proper music video with. Sky Cows and in particular, it's on our YouTube. I don't know that if it's leaked to the Spotify and all the other places yet.
Right.
But Sky Cows is basically about just cows being abducted from Earth by a tornado, you know? Kind of like the movie Twister, right? Sky cows flying across. So I kind of want to do a video with like kind of that chaos happening around us and cows flying through the air. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Because I've got to go on about the band name, because one of the things we talk about every time I set the videos up, because Andy and Kirk have no idea what videos come in. So I will go out every week and I will pick the 8 to 10 videos that we're going to review. and I will literally set them up and go, "Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to check out a band called Torcon 11," and they'll go. And I asked them, I said, "So what genre do you think they are based on the name and stuff?" And they're like, today we were like, "No idea." And I mean, I was a little bit ruthless. I have to be honest in our review, and I was like, "It is a bit of a silly name. It's a bit silly because it doesn't mean anything." So I have to ask, Torcon 11, where did the name come from? What's the purpose behind it? You got to give me some a bit more, because we were like, if you first come across that, it gives you no indication of the type of band that you're going to come and see. So Torcon 11, where did it come from? Why did you pick it?
Yeah, so this whole thing started as a meme, the band, in the Furnace Fest community group. We have a legendary meteorologist in Alabama, which is where we're all from initially. And he has this thing that he says, "Respect the polygon," over and over. So there was a meme created of like Steve Harvey in a pit screaming and Oprah Winfrey in a pit screaming, like these AI images, right? Well, one was created with James Spann, like "Respect the polygon."
Yeah.
And it kind of had a bunch of clicks. And I was like, in our little friend group, we were talking like, dude, we should just form a whole band around this idea of like weathercore, which don't know if that exists, but if it doesn't, hey,
well,
we created
it does
that.
now, doesn't it?
Stamp, we created it, right? But yeah, man. So the Torcon scale, because I'm also a weather nerd. So the Torcon scale is like how they rate severe weather and tornadoes specifically. Right. It goes to 10. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to be heavier than that, more brutal than that. So that's Torcon 11, right? So
it's
we're
the Spinal Tap element, isn't it? It's to go one louder.
Exactly. Yeah. Turn it up to 11, man. That's a really good way to describe it. Just severe weather.
Actually, I mean, that is literally what Andy guessed it was, because Andy was sitting there and he was like, "Is it like tornado warning system, like DEFCON levels?" And it's like tornado level, like number 11, and that's the warning. And I'm like, no idea.
I think so.
I'll ask if that was what his guess was. So Andy got it right. There we go.
Yep, pretty much, man. Yep.
So I need to know, you were talking about this festival. So talk a little bit about Furnace Fest then for us.
Yeah. So Furnace Fest, back in the early 2000s. So like in my prime, like high school days, telling my age here, but they had all these really great bands like Blindside and Under Oath and just all these bands that didn't have really back then like a major platform. And the festival creators had them, and then also, I can list off like 30 other bands that you never heard of.
Yeah.
And with a focus on kind of hardcore and the rock and metal community. So I would go to these events like in high school. There was a huge pause for like 10 or maybe even 20 years. And then Furnace Fest came back like COVID. It was supposed to happen in 2020. Yeah. COVID sucked for everyone, right? 2021 Furnace Fest came back, and it was just so epic because this is like the first like metal like show where everybody could get outside.
Right. Okay.
And it just, mosh pits, full contact, like amazing. So everyone in the band, including kind of our admin guy, James, we're not all really in Birmingham anymore. So like James is in Arkansas. I'm currently living in Albuquerque, New Mexico. But this is a pilgrimage every year for us. It's kind of like The Hangover or something, right? Like we all come to Birmingham. We pop ibuprofen as a bunch of old dudes, and we go like get in the mosh pit and have a great time. And so I have to give props to Furnace Fest and like that friendship that's been centered around that, because if that wouldn't have happened, this band wouldn't have been created. You know what I mean? Our hope is to play there. If not at the festival, then like a pre-show or a post-show. Regardless, we're going to do like some benefit concerts and stuff for the charity. This is all centered around that. That's the only reason we're even doing it.
Yeah, so I've heard a little bit about it. So it's, was it the Alabama Childhood Food Solutions?
Yep.
So what's that all about then?
Yeah, so before we created this band and had a song named Respect the Polygon, I had to reach out to James Spann, who is the famous meteorologist that this whole thing kind of started around. I asked him for permission. I'm like, hey man, we're going to kind of use your image and some of the words and write a song called Respect the Polygon. And he was like, absolutely, just keep it clean. And because I work with this children's charity, and it's kind of a ministry that he has. I was like, okay, cool, totally fine. So I started digging around, doing some research to this Alabama Childhood Food Solutions, and talked to the guys about it. And we're like, okay, well, let's do this now. Because this wasn't a real band to begin with, right? Yeah. We all have other endeavors. We all play in other music projects. But let's make everything we do with this band go for Alabama Childhood Food Solutions. So I've met with the director and the managers, and basically, man, they feed kids. They feed people in underserved and impoverished communities, and they create backpacks for children. So these kids are going to school, and they're bringing back home food for them and their family. Okay. Right now, they're doing 2,000 meals a week for kids in Alabama, which is amazing.
That's great.
And so, from what I can tell, everything we're going to do, it's going to all go back towards that. None of us want to be paid for this. Everything we're doing is it's fun for us. It's a creative outlet, and we're going to be sure to give money to that organization.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
One thing I want to ask about is that came up today, because when we were listening to the track, it would be easier for us to kind of go, oh, well, that's a hardcore part of that. So we're like, yeah, there's a hardcore bit. But then we're like, hang on, that's more like deathcore. That's metalcore. Well, that's doom now. We're getting some doom riffs coming in here. There's a good break. So this track had so many different varieties of the kind of the hard metals. Wasn't really any of the thrash elements in those, but it had some real kind of, as I said, all the kind of main core elements, the metalcores, the hardcores. So it does feel, and I think we loved it for that exact fact, was there were so many different influences coming into this. And is that a case that when these songs were written, there was a lot of people writing and coming up with ideas, or was it a case of one person wrote it and just was like, I just love so many different things, this is where I'm going with it?
Yeah, so the first single, Respect the Polygon, I guess musically, in actuality, was all just me. Okay. I kind of started this thing as like I said, it kind of started as a meme, and we're doing some group chatting. So I actually hired Dark Cabin Studios. It's a guy named Jacob, and so he's 90% of all the instrumentals that you hear. Right. I did the vocals and kind of some EQing and mixing on my end. Yeah. So that song that's out there now and all over, the guys that are in the band, we didn't actually play those. So, but that's why we immediately started printing other songs. So like Sky Cows is up on YouTube, and the last 4 more that we're going to come out, these are all a group effort. So we've got like a Dropbox. We're shooting ideas back and forth. We're chatting on Facebook Messenger and coming up with ideas and concepts and that sort of thing. So what started as kind of a track with me putting vocals over has now turned into a more like old school band because we're having so much fun. And I was actually able to fly home for Christmas. We had like a couple of live practices and stuff. Yeah. I think I posted some of those videos on our Facebook, so you can see that we're like actually playing the parts. And everybody in the band's stupid talented. Like I'm the worst one in the band for sure. You know, sure I just scream. But yeah, man, everybody's really good. Everybody's a professional musician, and we're taking our time. We want it to be like solid, but we also want it to be fun. You know.
Because this is something that's come out a lot recently, and I hadn't actually really thought about it because of us being here in the UK. I mean, the UK is smaller than one of the states in America. And that's our entire country. So we talk about. I've got friends and people in bands, and they go, "Oh, our singer couldn't make it to rehearsal, or she had to quit the band because she lived 45 minutes drive away, and it was just too far for her for rehearsals." And I'm like. And then I speak to the American bands, and I'm like, so whereabouts are you all spread? Well, he's a 5-hour car drive away. And I'm like, then how do you rehearse? How do you... I get the sending over ideas, but then obviously you've got at some point come together. So how often as a band would you ever rehearse? In your situation?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so back in the day for us, like in our previous metal band, when we were like in our young 20s, it was like every week, you know, like get in the garage and just throw down and get as tight as you can. We're also playing a lot more shows and that sort of thing back then, doing some little mini runs and weekend tours and that sort of thing. This particular project is going to be like way more focused. We don't have plans for doing long tours or that sort of thing. We're going to do a handful of very specific shows. Like I'm planning a summer benefit concert for the charity. So that's kind of in the works now. We're searching for like venues and that sort of thing. Once the venue's locked in, then I start doing all my social media promotion and a press release and all that. We'll practice. So once there's a date locked in and like we have a show, okay, now hey, let's get it tight. Let's practice, right? And then we'll practice. And I'm gonna assume that the dudes are gonna jam without me there and just get musically tight, and then I can show up with my microphone with my big load in, and just do some vocals,
Because Howard, we talked a little bit about the sort of the writing process that you kind of sending the ideas around. Now, a lot of bands, it's changed quite a lot over the last, I would say, 18 months to 2 years, where the mindset, specifically because of the streaming platforms, it's all now become about singles in a lot of cases. Bands are like, there's no point spending a year and a half writing an album and then dropping an album. Yeah. Because it's all suddenly just dumped on Spotify, and then you've got nothing for another 2 years while you're writing. So in your case, are you thinking like dropping songs sporadically throughout the year, or are you thinking getting these 4 songs together and going, we're going to drop them as an EP? Where's your head at with the single versus EP versus album?
Great question. We've had back and forth about that, and even maybe some disagreements. Because either way, doesn't matter with technology now. I don't know like how things work. But we are going to release some singles. We're expecting Sky Cows to be up pretty soon everywhere. I think we've already like pulled the trigger on that, so it'll start getting leaked to Spotify and all the other platforms. Eventually by April, the EP will be dropped. So I don't know at like what order this is going to happen. So maybe some singles are going to hit first. But all of a sudden in April, like all of the songs will be out there in like an EP format.
Okay.
Yep.
So another thing I like to talk about, especially with the bands that have the metalcore or the hardcore element, talking about the live scene as far as your audiences. Now, I'm a groove metal guy, so don't really I'm not a massive into the hardcore metalcore. I never was. I understand it. Probably if you talk to me about hardcore, I'm a Biohazard guy, bit of Madball from back in the day. I'm a 90s metal hardcore guy, so I was never got into the metal. I never really got into metalcore or anything like that. I was pure hardcore back in those ones. But
like Terror's another good one. So the challenge I have is I do a lot of videography work and I film a lot of shows for bands and stuff like that. And the thing I've never got understood is the mindset of the crowd killing audience members and those the ones that go in there and absolutely just batter the 7 shades of shit out of each other. Now I appreciate if you're in that audience, you knew what you were doing and you knew that was there, and that's fine. Let them beat the crap out of each other. But when in your head is it too much? What would it take for you to be on stage performing? That's going on, and then you go, "Hey, whoa, stop! Hang on, what's that? You've taken it too far at this point. What's too far when it comes to the crowd killing scene?" Man, great question. Actually, really like that question. So I've worn like every hat that you can wear in the music world. I've produced. I've ran sound, done security, and so having that been on stage, so having that wide range of vision, it kind of helps me understand different people's perspectives. But I mean, some people are just hyped up on drugs or whatever, and they go in the pit and they just literally injure people. So for me, it would be like an injury, not like oh no, I stumped my toe, but if I see someone's actually in danger or getting hurt, especially if it's something that they're not wanting to participate in. Yeah, I'm gonna. Hey, everybody, hold on. Are you good, bro? Somebody help this guy, So for me, that's it. Or kids. Honestly, if I see kids getting their face kicked in a mosh pit, we're gonna stop at that point,
So there's bound to be people that have never been to a live show, which is weird in this day and age, especially with YouTube. They've maybe never seen a gig, and they've got the music and gone, "This is great." Gone there, got to the front and gone, "Yeah!" And then suddenly someone starts crowd killing behind them, and you're like, holy shit, how do I get out of there? And I swear I've seen videos of this live, people, and you just see these persons look, go, fuck, get me out of here quick. Shit.
Yeah, as long as it's fun, as long as it's good vibes, you know? Like, I mean, you even got these kids that are like doing the fist swings and sort of thing. Do you know, do what you want to do, right? But like, I'm going to stay away from that. I'm probably going to encourage that, but it's like, do it safely, man. Yeah. That's all.
If like, as long as it's consenting, if everyone in there is consenting to it.
Right.
End of the day, I mean, I have to say, when I was 19 or so, and I was at Megadeth concerts, and I broke a couple of ribs, and I had a broken nose, and I still remember coming out of that gig with blood down my face, going, "This is the best gig ever." That was back in the 90s. So, okay, so what's the challenges you would say that as a musician, especially with this as being a newer project? Obviously, you're in other bands as well, but what are the challenges that are facing a musician nowadays?
I think with anything, just time, and especially being remote, being able to get everybody synced up and get our schedules together. If we were doing this full time and we were all some like millionaire content creators, it would probably be super easy, but we all have real jobs. We all have, you know, wives and kids. So that time management thing, I kind of keep putting wind in the sails and pushing this project because I think it's a lot of fun and it could be for a good cause. But yeah, time management for sure, man. Finding time to get together to practice, finding time to get everybody off on a Sunday to come and do a music video at Lawn Chair Youth. You know what I mean? So the next stage is going to be trying to plan these like benefit shows, and it's time management. I mean, I got Zoom going. I got another laptop, and then I got my social media. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir, right? We have so many things going now in 2024, like, you know, and then there's aliens on top of that. So like, I don't know, you know, time management.
I mean, as I say to a lot of bands nowadays, it's just managing your socials and being able to put enough content out to stay relevant is a full-time job. It's at least, you spend at least 8 hours a day. I run 4 YouTube channels, play in my own band, Telescribe.
Nice.
I do all that.
Shout out.
Gotta get my shout out there. Videography work, so I shoot all the videos for this band and other bands, and of course do my own landscaping business, which is my full-time job as well. So I have a wife, but she never sees me either. So it is a challenge. It is massively a challenge to do it, but it's very, very hard. But it is rewarding when you get to do it and you enjoy it, and as long as you're passionate about it. So
for sure.
I want to talk about Weathercore then, because this is the first time I heard about this Weathercore. Never heard of this, but I have to ask. So, how many songs do you think there are that you can write about the weather?
Man, I actually think that it's endless. I think I think that this could turn into a whole thing. Could it be looked at as a meme genre? Maybe. Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, there's some pretty like brutal songs already out there about like weather. Like if you dig a little bit and start searching like a little more specifically. But so 10 years ago today in Alabama, we had a thing called Snowmageddon, and it basically, because the South doesn't know how to do snow. I mean, it's just not a thing. So it basically shut the state down for like 4 days. People were like stranded on the side of the road, literally cars on fire. Like it was just like chaotic, right? So I'm already thinking like, well, after this severe weather album, and we're focused on tornadoes and whatever and sky cows, right? We could do another EP on like winter, right? Yeah. And then we can do another EP on like horrible summer conditions. And then we can do another EP on like maybe get real artsy and talk about autumn and the changing of the leaves and that sort of thing. I think it's endless, man. I think we could have like indefinite content about weather and metal. And it's
is there a risk that as a Weathercore band talking about weather and the climate, you get then put as a climate change band?
That could be possible. I guess I would just address like those questions as they came up, you know. Yeah. I tell everybody, I told Lawn Chair Youth the same thing. So like we're apolitical. We're not going to talk about any of that stuff. Like, we're just making art for people to have a good time. And it just happens to be about weather, you know?
Okay.
So I'm not trying to promote some... Okay, so like sky cows, for example. We're talking about like cows getting like yeeted into the atmosphere. You know, is PETA going to come at me for like singing negatively about like cows? I don't know.
Quite possibly. You never know.
They might do it. Like maybe the video like triggers someone. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would just say, hey, sorry, like that's kind of punk rock. Like it is what it is. Like you don't have to watch our Sky Cow video if you don't want to.
Yeah, unfortunately, you've got to put a trigger warning on every video. We've had to, every single thing, just in case it triggers someone. You've got to put some sort of disclaimer now on every video, just in case.
Yeah. And that's kind of my take in general, just in life in general. You know, man, I retired out of the military. I've seen and done all kinds of crazy things.
Yeah.
So like, I am who I am. I hope you like me. If not, then that's cool. Like we could be cool, you know, but you don't have to follow my stuff, you know?
That's true. Yeah. Before I get into the last question, which I want to talk about, is obviously the plans going forward overall, because you've covered some of it, but a bit more of a cohesive summary about what's going on for the rest of this year. I have to ask one question. Have you ever been tempted to shave your other guitarist's head so you're all bald?
Man, that's really funny. So that's Bird. He's actually probably, I mean, you know, you can count on one hand, like a handful of people, right? So yeah, he's like my best friend. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I think it would be funny. I mean, maybe if enough people like say to do that, maybe he has to do it. You know, do it for the kids, Bird.
You've got to do it for you know what I mean? Continuity of the band. I was like, you've got to shave his head. Come on.
So we had
come on.
So the plan actually was never to have this look of all like bald, like look like James Spann, whatever. That was never the plan at all. We just so happened to have, you know, a bunch of dudes in the band that are bald. Yeah. And then when the video came out, I guess it was like evident, like, oh, well, Bird has like a bunch of hair, so
got to shave it off. Get him drunk, let him pass out, just shave it all off. He'll be fine.
I mean, I feel like at this point he has to do it. Do it for the kids.
Do it for charity, then it'll be fine. Just get him sponsored shaving of his head. That'll be good.
Yeah, it'll grow back. Mine won't grow back, but
this will grow back. He might like it. You never know.
Your hair will grow back, bro. Just do it for the kids.
Just do it. And do it on the YouTube channel. Just film it and put it on there. Right. Anyway, last question then. So you talked about the songs coming out and you talked about your plans. So overall, the next 12 months, give us kind of a summary then of everything you're doing. Also, if you've got the other bands or anything else going on with other music, let us know about that as well. So what's going on?
Yeah, man. So gonna be obviously working towards getting this EP released. Yeah. I think we're going with Nader music because got to throw that southern, you know, so Tornado, Nader music. Nader. Yeah, it'll be that, or it'll be Respect the Polygon, but I think Nader music is pretty good. So once that EP's out, probably somewhere around April, we'll start then working towards these concerts, planning on at least 2 or 3 concerts southeast, with hopes to do a bigger benefit show at a nicer venue, trying to work with Furnace Fest. Furnace Fest is now like a brand. It's not just a specific festival. So you'll see all over Furnace Fest Presents, and there's just constantly like pretty awesome concerts coming out of that. The guys involved in Furnace Fest have recently purchased a really great venue called Workplay. It's I'm going to say like probably the nicest indoor venue in the state of Alabama. I mean, it's theater on one side, smaller room on the other side, but just super nice. But they've completely gutted it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. So would love to do a show there. And then getting into summer, we're going to start riding again, working towards probably the next whatever genre of weather EP, because it's just a lot of fun. Maybe we tune the guitars different, you know, and then we really and I think that's just kind of where we're at. We'll see how this goes. Hopefully the momentum keeps going and we'll continue to build it and have fun writing different stuff. And I get to come up with creative words about, you know, cows dying and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, as soon as you get any new videos as well, if you do any new videos of the song, make sure you send them our way for us to have a review of over on the A.D.K channel. But all I can say is a big thank you for joining me today. And yeah, all the best with everything you're doing, and obviously for the charity work that you're doing, which is awesome.
Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you having us on, man. Super nice to meet you. And you have a good rest of the day, too, man.
And you, take care.
Cheers. See ya.